And when you are the guy, like you or like me, and you reach a certain level, the good women will naturally find you. You don't have to spend all day chasing women.
Yeah.
You know, there are women in your inbox waiting, like at any time. So
I'm sure a lot of guys, they must have heard this before, but if you just focus on yourself, your business, your career, the women will just come eventually.
That is the truest thing in the world. But the thing is, the sad part is, it's 5 years of work.
Yeah.
At least 5 years of work. And nobody wants to do the work. Mm-hmm. It's like getting into shape, as I'm sure you know. It's, you know, when guys are, you know, fat and they're like, oh, well, you get women because you're in shape. It's like, well, you could be in shape, but it's for you, it's 2 years. It's 3 years, you know? Are you willing to do that? The same is with your finances, the same with your mindset, the same with lots of things. So, yeah, if you do the work, the women do naturally come to you, but it's years of work. And everyone wants a quick fix nowadays. Yeah. Everyone wants a magic pill or a magic spell or a magic trick. And there are none. They don't exist.
There was definitely a point in my mid-20s where I just needed to sort my life out because I didn't have the money. I wasn't in a position where I wanted to be with my career. So I literally just hid away for almost 1 to 2 years where I just eliminated distractions and just focused on the shit which I needed to do. And surprise, surprise.
Here you are.
Yeah.
That's good advice to anybody. Mm-hmm. It is good advice to anybody. Myself and my brother too. From age maybe 24 till 27, 28, you know, I was just essentially locked away 7 days a week working 12, 13, 14 hours a day. And everyone's like, oh, wow, you've done well. It's like, yeah, well, surprise. Mm-hmm. Like it's not a secret.
So, I mean, I've listened to pretty much every single podcast which your brother's done, Andrew. Yeah. So I feel like I know what your upbringing was like because he's obviously described it so many times. Exactly. Is there anything which you would want to touch upon that's different from his story? Because I imagine everything that he went through, you were going through as well because you two have been so tight.
Yeah, the only difference is, I guess it may have been slightly harder for him because he was the older brother. Mm-hmm. He didn't have an older brother to look up to. I did. But in the same way, you know, with advice, with things in life, I've always had his back, especially since we've been adults. But as young kids, you know, I always had that older brother to look up to, which is why I actually spend a lot of my time. I was going to say waste a lot of my time, but I actually spend a lot of my time answering questions and talking to the young men who ask me for advice because, you know, I was very lucky to have Andrew there. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people in this world are just growing up with no men to look up to. And I realized that, you know, myself and my brother and guys like you have become that figure that a lot of people on the internet look up to in an age where, you know, the masculine men are few and far between. So I spend a lot of my time trying to speak to younger men and coach younger men. But yeah, my upbringing was exactly the same as Andrew's, but slightly more difficult for him, I think.
Yeah. I think it's amazing the bond that you guys have, and you're almost setting like this perfect example of how siblings should be. You know, they should be there for each other. They should have each other's back. And what I find crazy in today's world is there's so many like messed up families. And even a girl I was seeing in the past, she has a brother, but her brother is this drug addict who does nothing, who's just a sponge, taking everything away from the family. And I just can't believe that siblings can be that way and they can hate each other. You
know, I find it weird that there aren't more brothers like me and Andrew. Mm-hmm. And before the internet and before me and Andrew, I guess, started getting big 5 years ago or started traveling the world or started meeting people, we didn't realize how unusual it was. Mm-hmm. We really didn't. We thought, okay, we're brothers. We live together. Let's work together. We're brothers. We thought that was so normal that it's shocking that I haven't met another pair of brothers like me and Andrew. And, and I'll openly say, and to all the people who I have met, I'm not trying to offend you, I haven't met anyone with a brother who works together as well or as perfectly as me and Andrew do. And I just find that really hard to believe. And, you know, I try to push this on younger people as well. You know, not just maybe your biological brother, but even your friends, like teaming up with other men and having strong male friendships with other dudes is one of the most important things in life. Like you get the idea of just being a complete lone wolf by yourself. I don't think is healthy, and I don't think it's the most effective way to live. So yeah,
I think it's crazy. If I had another version of me with me all the time, not saying we'd be twins, but just someone who's very similar, like God knows where I'd
Think
be.
of how much more you get done. Yeah, exactly.
I do have a brother. He's 2 years below me, and he's very similar. It was amazing when we were growing up. Like, we had each other's back. We spent a lot of time together. But I guess we kind of went down separate routes, because when he was at university, he met this girl, and then he pretty much just got together with this.
Always girls.
Yeah. He got together with this girl, and they've been together ever since. And his life, or a huge part of his life, has been with his girlfriend. They're going to get married next year. So I feel like, as much as I like her and they're happy together and that's great, but I feel like because of that, I lost a part of him. Because he was doing his thing with her.
And that is always the way. That is always the way. I don't know what it was about us that made us prioritize our friendship and prioritize being brothers above prioritizing relationships with women. Every woman who's ever been in my life, and the women that are in my life now, know that there is no choice between me and them. You know, if a girl was on my house at my house once on like a 4th date or 5th date, and she said, "I don't like your brother." I said, "That's a very strange thing to say. Why would you say that?" "I don't know. He seems rude. I just don't like him. I've watched him on the internet. I don't like your brother." I said, "Well, that's unfortunate, because this house is half my brother's house, and he didn't pay millions of dollars for this house for people who don't like him to sit in it. So you've got to go." "Oh, but this is your house too. So get the fuck out." Like I will prioritize my friendship and my relationship with my brother above any woman. And I feel like that may be our superpower, yeah.
As you mentioned before, there's a lot of people in today's world who lack a strong father figure and a role model, both men and women. And we can see the effects of this because there's so many lost boys or men in this world who just have no one to ask advice or no one to look up to. Same thing with women. Maybe they don't have a father figure in their life, and then they end up making some pretty